Testing 1, 2.
Turn that shit down.
Ooh. Hey.
Oh shit. Come on.
Yeah, his mics are sensitive. I can pick up the chair sliding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which means you gotta be quiet.
Somebody make some lather noises. Lather.
Myself.
Indeed, lather.
I whoop myself ass.
Oh Jesus.
Catch you off guard.
He like looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Like,
You okay? I gotta go.
Are you redoing your podcast or this?
This is alive.
Okay.
What's up? What's the matter?
I'm gonna have to go.
You're gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Where?
Right here.
Can I watch? You're so rude. YOLO.
No.
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 Here, give me your phone. I got you.
No.
Come on.
Oh yeah?
Keep it down.
Shit like that.
Mother. What's up? Nigga, get closer.
Or not mine. Their cousins is cousins.
Thank you.
Look at everything. That's there.
Shawny.
Stop it.
Shawny. Put your headphones on. Shawny. Hey. Do what you gotta do, girl.
I'm about to. My stomach's a little upset right now.
That's all I'm saying.
What?
Just go.
Stop it.
Weirdo.
He's such a weirdo.
I love it. So,
Who's that other kid?
we have a kid. What kid?
Nick.
Oh,
Tyler, be quiet.
Quiet on set. Quiet on set. Check 1, check 2. Here we go.
This is the soundbite. This is what we get to do.
This is what we.
This is the podcast couch, casting couch. I'm Matt One. Welcome to fucking Jackass.
Yeah. Would be an
This is
alternate
my
word for a
co-host,
podcast.
aka the co-pilot, aka my hot rod, because he's my hot rod to my Optimus Prime.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So you die?
Gladly.
More like broadcast.
Matt, get it. Which one?
The mics.
Oh yeah. You weren't using that shit. Idiot. Stupid Tyler. Such a stupid guy.
Hop on the opportunity.
Yeah. Next thing I'm gonna do.
Black people and emo. Be quiet.
Holy shit, that's not live, is it?
Yep.
God damn it, Studs. You just said that.
I said what I said.
There we go.
My bad, black person.
God. We're dancing.
That lasted a whole while.
Oh god.
Hey, what's this one?
Oh, that's for these.
Okay, don't touch that. So keep it away. Why isn't this turning up?
I can hear it. Oh, wait, no, I hear it from the mics.
Alright, here we go. Let's cut it from here. Okay, now it sounds like now it sounds like it's actually supposed to. Hey, there we go. That's what everybody will hear. I'm gonna keep that in the mouth. Okay.
Let's go.
On the vibrator.
Turn this shit off.
Jesus. On the vibrator.
That was mine.
It wasn't open.
No, because I'm drinking water first. I'm a saint, not a sinner. Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're live here
from the castle. We'll make this a different
straight from the castle.
when we edit it or put it somewhere and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe this doesn't exist via ignorant or MCSDA necessarily.
Yeah. It just is, and it's the Castle Clark. It's like another like iteration of us
Clark
doing
Park.
things.
The Clark Park podcast?
Yeah, there's the Castle Clark fucking discussions. Castle Clark conversations.
Let's go.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm here as always because this is my house. And then Mateo's here because he lives here as well.
Gang.
Stuntman lives here, which is obvious.
He comes and he goes.
He lives here.
My fourth home.
But the other person that's here that's not usually here is Shawny, who's over there.
Oh.
So,
Yo.
Shawny, you want to like just quick intro who you are, where you rap, stuff like that.
Word. My name is Shawny, also known as C4 in the dance world, and Shawny mainly. From Flint, originally from Detroit, but live near Flint, and a B girl, just repping and building.
Let's go.
Bet. Which mic is she for?
Yeah.
I'm 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Okay.
Cutting.
Yeah.
Like a pro.
Yeah, just as long as you stay kind of like near it or close to it and stuff. Like slide that chair back a little bit more. Actually, here.
That's cool.
Okay, that
Is
works.
that better?
Yep, that stays there. Yeah. So like yesterday, we were having like a really cool conversation about stuff, and I think it just kind of came up how about the a common thing that I was listening to like me and you talk about was just, oh, I went here, I went there, I went there. And just a minute ago, I was talking to Shawny, is just like, what's something common? What space do we like occupy? Is traveling. Like, obviously, you're from Pasadena, Cali, coming down from Flint and everything into the neighborhood. So it's like, I think a common thing we share is traveling. And I think, too, is just kind of Matt, like I guess from like an outside perspective, like from a non like you're not in the breaking world and having that perspective. Shit, I gotta plug in the laptop. Not having that perspective, it'd be dope to, hear as well as chime in. So I'll just kind of lead it off with that is the importance of traveling. We'll go with that. And that way we don't take up a bunch of your time, Shawny. So the importance of like traveling and like being, I don't know, how important is it for a lot of what you do, Matt, like with traveling, like anything from like the sports to like, even just like kind of like how you grew up moving from spot to spot and things like that.
For me, traveling has changed my whole life and me as a person. Oh wait, yeah, I don't. But I got to, I personally got to see more than what just Detroit had to offer because at first, like, what I thought I could be in life was so minimal because other than like just a factory worker or gangbanger, you know what I mean? It's like I didn't moving to Arizona made me realize that there's other things that I could be, other things that I can do. Made me realize how far you can take life versus like when it comes to getting out of the hood and stuff. Or like, and then I learned a lot of stuff, and I learned ways that I can help my hood as I came back. Like took a bunch of different business classes out there and stuff, and worked on some corporate companies. And now instead of working corporate, I'm giving all that energy to MCSDA, and I wouldn't be able to help out the way I do if I didn't travel and learn more and meet network and meet more people. Networking is huge. Build a huge network through traveling, and it's so true that life's all about who you know. So for me, that's how traveling has impacted my life. But what about you guys?
Okay, I just wanted to mic check.
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know. I can't
That's
hear
so weird.
anything. Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
No, I can't hear anything.
What'd you touch?
Okay, I think it's coming back.
You can hear?
I can hear.
Yeah, you sound good, Shawny.
Oh, good. Okay.
Turn the mic up a little bit.
Just making sure I can hear you guys.
You couldn't hear us? Or you couldn't?
I can hear you. I just that's better.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what that does. But
Where?
Bro.
I don't know. Like traveling for me is really important because it gives you a broader view of culture of this world that we live in, and for me in the breaking scene, I can be here in Michigan and I can be here in this the state or my my specific baby scene of Flint or even Detroit, but really that only gives me a narrow view of the culture that I claim to be a part of unless I travel.
Yeah.
Unless I build relationships. And for me, building relationship is really important. And part of that is, yeah, I'll build relationship virtually, but it means something more when you show up
Yeah.
in somebody else's state, when you show up to somebody else's jam and you just like, you're not only putting in the work, through social media, but you're actually showing up, I think that's really important. And it builds trust in the community. And I'm about building trust. I'm a trust builder. I'm a community builder. So for me, it's just like, it's putting my money where my mouth is. It's putting action behind my intention. So it's
especially unique when you get to travel doing what you love. Like you say with dance and stuff like that and hip hop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a really dope thing. I mean, and I just have the freedom to do it now, so which is really dope.
Yeah.
And I'm really thankful for it because this culture and this dance is a gift to me, and I just want to really live it. I want to live my life to the full, and so I mean, you can't live your life to the full by sitting in your house.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't build a network,
right? Right. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah. What about
Your stunts?
Dragon fruit.
Fancy dragon fruit. Like the importance of traveling. I like because it didn't get into importance of traveling for breaking.
Right.
We'll save that for the next part. It'll be like part two question to this question. But like the importance of traveling as a human. Like as just a person. Like like non-break related. And I know for us it's so intertwined, but like the things you've been able to bring home.
I don't know how to not travel hip-hop related. That's all I've done. Even before I knew what I was doing. Take my early years of like being a tagger. Like I couldn't tag up 2 or 3 blocks and expect the rest of the city or the county to come and notice me. So I would hop on a bus, like me and my crew would hop on a random bus and like, we're going to catch this to the last stop. And we would tag on the bus, travel to a different city, and then get off at that station or stop and then tag around that neighborhood. So traveling for me, even though it was within LA County or within a couple of cities from my neighborhood, like that was already important because I wanted to get noticed as a tagger. Even if they didn't know who I was or they didn't know what I looked like, they knew my name. They would see my name tagged up. So the importance of traveling me early on, even though I didn't realize it until this question was asked, is like, you go and leave your mark in somebody else's neighborhood, and that might feel disrespectful to them, but from a tagger standpoint, you're like, yeah, I did that, and what? So early on, it was already part of me paying dues, but also running into beef, also meeting other writers that were cool, meeting girls, like all of that came with early. This is like 12, 13 years old. I'm going to other cities just mobbing, just tagging. So I couldn't relate it to dance because I wasn't dancing yet, but I was already making sure that I went to another city, to somebody else's neighborhood. And you had to worry about rival taggers and gangsters that ran that neighborhood, and that was probably part of the rush. So traveling early on for me was just making sure that I put in the work and that I got noticed, that I got seen, that like we say in hip hop, like, we're the voice of the voiceless. So I did that before I knew what the hell that even was, with just tagging, just mobbing.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the importance of traveling has just been like as a human is just learning. I guess because I put so much pride in my city, like that's like the service. Like everybody I've met is always like, oh, just map Detroit. Like it's constantly all I talk about. So like being able to like go everywhere else and see how other cities operate, like lets me know what I want for my city and also what my city does better. So it's like, yes, there's holes that it needs filled, there's things that it could do better, but it also lets me know what's unique to here, like, and then relying on, and then also being able to like take pride in it, not just as like like a sports team type shit and everything, but like actually like from the DNA of the people that live there, here's how it moves and operates. And that's always been like every time I come home from a different city, like I came home from Philly and I'm just like, yo, we got mad elbow room. Like we were driving around talking about like all the abandoned field house and stuff, that Danny Brown track, to like, yo, these people are on top of each other. Like No wonder they're so aggressive. They got no damn room. Like you don't have any space. But and then the same stride, we have tons of space because we don't have shit for public transportation and all this other stuff. Like so it's like, oh, what about like, man, we have all this like, oh, this is like. The clubs close at 4 a.m. Yeah, but you guys got to listen to shitty music. I go home and like we have some of the illest spots 3-4 times a night. Obviously pre-COVID, but like going around from different club, different nightlife and stuff like that. And it just like traveling, like let me know, like damn, the food. We do have good food here. Like we have our own unique twist to things, like and or we don't have a certain amount of things. Like how hard is it to find like any sort of Asian food in the city? Gotta go north. Gotta go way north. And it's like damn, like so it's just like wow, there's these gaps and there's this uniqueness and there's this difference and then there's these spaces of better. So traveling is like kind of put like all like lets me see that perspective of I guess appreciate the city more and stuff. So yeah.
Do you think you would be traveling if you weren't the artist that you are, though?
No, hell no.
Yeah,
It would be too expensive.
Nope.
I want characters.
No, I wouldn't.
What?
For what?
Oh,
You
yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah.
You have no urge to go.
Yeah.
A, broke, and then be like, what? Why?
But I don't
Yeah.
even think it would
Just
be because of
randomly
broke.
traveling like that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
get
early on, it was for me. For I was broke, I was like, I don't know how, but I made it happen.
I get flown out a decent amount.
Yeah.
No, not like on your level and stuff, but like as far as like the state goes, I get flown out. Like, you know what I mean? I get taken care of. I get brought out to places. I get put up. I got a platform. I'm able to do that. I was waking way more than I was like in 2013, 2014-ish era and stuff and everything. But was I traveling? No. You get so caught up in that corporate life and work life that there's nothing to travel for if you're not around people that actively travel and put you up on traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to travel?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And it's like, well, for what? You got everything here. You're still stuck taking care of the lawn, worried about the boat and the RVs and all the extra toys and shit. You got no time to actually go and appreciate everything else that's out there. Like, and that takes me to the other point is like the importance of, how would I say, like the importance of traveling as like an artist, as a dancer, as a B-girl, as a B-boy. Like, what would you like, not on the judge and stuff like that tip and or workshops, guest type stuff. I mean, like as a competitor on that realm, like why is that important? Why do we stress that so much? Why do our OGs stress that so much for us to travel? Like in your perspective, what is like when you tell people to travel, why?
I mean, I come from a spot or a place or a time where you couldn't really see what another city, state, or country was doing because there was no videos. So some of it was like, yo, I want to see what they're doing over here. Luckily, someone brought me here so I can appreciate that and engage in that. One of the biggest takeaways for me traveling now through the last 25 years or whatnot is the fact that I go to places where people are too broke to leave their neighborhood. So the fact that I'm there and they could share certain stories with me and they can inspire me just by sharing something simple, because I'm in a position, because of the amount of years I've been involved, that a lot of people in these countries know who I am from the historic value of the videos and the competitions or whatnot. But I would have never known them otherwise if I didn't go there, because they can't afford to leave their neighborhood. So for us to be blessed enough to go to these other countries where people are like, yo, I would have never met you if you didn't come here because I can't afford to leave my block or what have you. So I think one of the biggest rewards and one of the biggest takeaways is people sharing their stories of how I was part of their journey, but I had never met them. We have never met. And I was such a big part of their timeline. So for me, that's huge because that keeps me inspired. That keeps me motivated. And above all, we get to share in their space. It's not like they come to my house. I'm in their hometown. So me knowing the rules, I'm going to bow down to whatever neighborhood I'm in. And then they school me on what happens there. Every time I travel, I'm always trying to find like the oldest breakers in that town and what it was like for them, because I love hearing those stories.
And then it just ties in back into like what I was saying originally about like traveling, and you're being put up on all the things that you weren't aware of and stuff
Food,
like that.
like you
So
said, I
food,
love
spaces,
when I travel,
people.
Where's the hip hop? What do y'all eat here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shawny, like the importance of like in your career, or like as you like from a perspective for yourself, as well as like what you try to endow people around you with? Why?
I think that like what I was saying before is like so important to me, like building community and not just saying it, not just reaching out in social media, but actually being in person because there's nothing, there's something special about connecting with somebody, whether it's through social media, messaging, or whatever. But when you're in person with them and you have experience with them, that like is so much more powerful. And it just shows them that you value them.
Mm.
It shows them that you value their culture, that you value their scene, and that you're a part of it, and that you're a part of them. And you get to sense, and grow and learn about other people's scenes and where they're at and how they dance, and it really enriches you, but it also it's like you're sharing each other, and like what you were saying, you're learning a little bit more about them. You're in their house, and so you get another perspective. And I feel like it's just, I don't know, it's just really important to growing yourself as a dancer. I always come back more inspired. I always come back hungrier for knowledge and more excited about the dance. I feel like I'm stronger and more confident, like I'm more rooted in the culture. And that's really important to me. And in general, as far as traveling, I know you guys were talking earlier, like, why would you travel? I'm a traveler at heart. I want to build experiences, not things.
Mhm.
For me, I don't want to build all these possessions in my life. I want to build experiences with people. I want to build
There you go.
experiences with people and places. And, because to me, I only have one life. I just want to live it to the full. And to me, living is not possessions, it's experiences with people. So, but as a dancer, I mean, seriously, like it's leveled me up.
Mm.
It's leveled me up. And I'm not the best dancer. I'm not the best B girl, but I am a very connected B girl.
Yeah.
And that gives me access to, love, support, encouragement, which makes me want to continue to grow in the dance. So it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, you definitely like as far as the camp and things like that. Like you've grown a lot more. It's something like I keep stressing is just like foundationally, or just I guess to the standard that everybody else we see it, we know it. We're out there traveling,
Yeah.
like like there's something everybody does that doesn't happen here, and it's why. And then you meet people like Soul, Keegan, and and other people that are traveled and stuff like that, is because they travel, they have
Yeah.
that, they've seen it on a higher level, on a national scale. It just, like you said, you come home more inspired, you come home more hungry. What would you say, like when you're telling your, like like anybody, you're kind of like newer people walking into the scene type thing, why do you?
I'm always encouraging people to connect,
Mm.
and to build relationship in the scene because to me that's what's really kept me here and kept me excited.
Mhm.
I'm just like, what if nobody knows you?
Yeah.
Nobody knows who you are. This is about peace, love, unity. How can you have unity within this culture
Mhm.
if you don't know people? If you don't have relationships with people, if you're not sparring with people, if you're not ciphering with people, like you really need to get out there and start connecting with people. For me, again, it's all about community building. Like it's all about building relationships and and strengthening this culture because I know for me and for anybody else in this culture, you're here, yeah, as a dancer or as a DJ or whatever, but you're also here to build this thing. Like there's more to it than just consuming it.
Yeah.
Are you know what I mean? Are you consuming this culture? Are you here to build this culture?
Yeah.
And not building it in a possessive way, but in a humble servant way. Like,
Yeah. Be a part of the village.
yeah, strengthening, coming up under it, loving it, caring for it, being like literally being a part of that culture instead of just consuming it for what it gives to you.
I feel like
that.
like then this might tap into that for like the perspective on this. Social media wise, you feel like you're a lot more tapped in than you actually are, just because you share clips and people comment on it.
Well, for me, it's not about sharing clips personally. For me, it's about the behind the scenes. I share clips just to have stuff out there and to more.
The people who don't travel.
Oh, the people who don't travel.
Like I always feel like that's like their excuse. Well, the counter to people do know me is, well, I get this many likes, I got this many shares, I get this many comments, I get this, I get that. It becomes a metric thing, and like but because of social media, it gasses them up that they don't have to contribute in this way, and that didn't exist before. Like you were saying, like
No,
you had to get up.
It gets weird. Obviously, it's a lot easier now because sometimes you would travel and you wouldn't go to somewhere another city to build. You'd actually go to another city and kind of be destructive, or they would be disrespectful towards you. So you would have to counter that. So now being able to go into the city and having people welcome you with open arms. Before they were like, you ain't shit. This is you in my city, homie. So they would check you. They would try to sun you. And hip hop was just in a different mind state. It was like, there's no way you come into my city and thinking you're going to run anything, even if it's a cipher. And that mentality was strong, and it was blunt, and it didn't hold back. So sometimes people travel and come back inspired. That could look different 20 years ago. You come back and angry.
Yeah, we
And be
came
like,
back
yo,
from Chicago,
Fuck
like
some shit.
Exactly. And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go back and roast these.
yeah,
motherfuckers.
like we came back from Chicago hungry, like fire, because we were like, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. I watched crews from Michigan get bullied out of ciphers and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
I came back and realized, oh, I know who I want to study under necessarily back home because they didn't get bullied. Like it's like I watched all of that happen, and it was just like it's a whole different ball game. Like, and so yeah, the difference of it and everything, and kind of like putting in social media and why people will counter that. Like I completely don't agree with it because it's just like that social media don't mean anything.
Yeah.
You're not getting booked off of something like that. Like
Shaking somebody's hand and having a conversation with them is 10 times more impactful.
Yeah.
They're going to remember you for a long time once you shake
Bro.
their hand.
Even just your
Imagine
presence.
Yeah.
Even just your presence in the
Yeah.
cipher and the energy that you bring. I mean, there's an energy exchange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna see your energy a little bit online, but I'm not gonna feel it. I'm not gonna experience it. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
like,
spar with you.
I seen around you, you tailor made for us to see. Is it- what about okay? So you battled 10 rounds, but you posted one. What about those other 9 where you got roasted?
Yeah.
As opposed to like seeing me being able to see all of that happen, and then it becomes like, oh, okay, yeah, you got your ass handed to you, but you still held it down. Like I feel like you don't get that from any of the social media because they're just
Unless
like,
they're vulnerable.
yeah,
with
about
with
their stuff.
yeah,
You know,
more.
and
That's another is no matter what you try to make it look like on social media, people can still assume who you are. But when you
Yes.
get there in person, you get to tell them who you are. You
Yeah.
show them like this is
be
me.
with them,
This
that
is my
energy
Yeah.
exchange.
This is my energy.
Yeah.
Like, just you know what I mean. Versus like, no matter how cool you think you are on social media, still they're making assumptions of who you are, whether you're really cool or you're really fraud or like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're in person,
And then go south
like,
real quick in some places, like you said, like reach out and shake someone's hand. Or they slap your hand, what are you gonna do? Or they spit in your hand.
Right.
Like it
which
gets
we've experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
like
gets-
that early on, like Chicago was like on some more shit.
When
Like
do
it
you,
was.
when do you think the like chip out the shoulder and hip hop started going away? Is that still a heavy thing?
I don't
I feel
know.
like
I don't-
hip hop is.
I feel like it's
Open
still
arms.
like the younger dudes still are aggressive as shit. Like I've been in spaces and seen these, people.
Yeah, but some of them are only aggressive because they think they have to be. Like it's
Yeah.
not in their nature.
Nah,
When someone it's in their nature, I totally
There-
agree. I'm like,
there's-
bro, you're just aggressive no
Yeah.
matter where I see you. I could be at the liquor store,
Yeah.
at the ice cream shop,
On the
in your
beach.
living room. Yeah, and you're just aggressive.
Wild Thornberry kid.
Yeah, then you have somebody that's like, why did you just act so aggressive? But then behind the scenes,
Yeah,
every
it's
time
like a
you're
whole different thing.
You're just a marshmallow. Like,
Hey.
stop.
Yeah.
Like that gets weird because
Yeah.
the social media gives you that curtain.
Buffer.
Yeah, the buffer
Yeah.
exactly. And you're like,
Space.
nah, bro. If I have beef with somebody, I have beef with you no matter
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
no matter where I see you. We have beef.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest thing is that to that point, Shawny, that was a good point, is just like, yeah, people just don't want to travel because they have it on social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, you're missing 80% of this.
Mhm.
Like 20% of it is the home stuff, especially here in our scene. It's small.
Right.
If we're in LA, then I could like see, okay, kind of don't need to travel because everybody from all around goes there. I could make the argument that you don't really need to travel because of how deep LA is. at a time how deep Chicago was. Now it's like those guys. That's why all you do is see Beast Boy and Chickies on the road because they're like, there's no point hanging out here.
Yeah.
You know, and those guys are dope because they realize it's too easy to win in the Midwest. I'm gonna go elsewhere and seek a challenge. And I feel like a lot of that too plays into like why people don't travel is they are intimidated by all that. Maybe whether it's the war spaces, new places, new people, new conversations, people they don't know. Like it's safe for a lot of people to battle and call out somebody that they know their move set and where they're at and I got them unless they snap, as opposed to like you have no clue who, when, where, wow, how, why, what they're gonna do, and you're just like, yo, that person cut me off and now we're going 10 rounds and holy shit, I picked the wrong person in this play. That happened to me with Ishmael down in Houston. I was like a badass little kid and I was just like, damn, I picked the man, you know what I mean? But he was just like, damn, OG. He was like, like shit, you were able to stay in there. And I was like, yeah, and that's how I kind of met him and kicked it with him. And then just, but yeah, I think that's spot on, with this Shawny is just kind of like the reason to travel, the big reason, like with traveling, doing all of that for me on not just on like a competitor standpoint, but like I'll say like, I guess if you're gonna be about it,
Yes.
commit to it. And I feel like it's just part of it. Like I'm not saying you're not a b-boy, b-girl if you don't travel. I'm just saying like if you want to be a competitor, you want to take it seriously, you want to come back with that fire, you got to travel. Like it's there's only so far you're gonna go here. I mean, I traveled with the shorties right out the gate. By year 3, I had them in New York. I had them in LA. I had them in Chicago by year 2 and stuff because I realized how impactful they were and how quick they were. They went from, oh look, they're in the new brackets to all of a sudden they were beating people that nobody else in Michigan was beating.
Yep.
Like when they took out, like I think it was Javi Umberto. Yes, Javi Umberto took out Vanilla Nice and Sketch in his prime too. And I was just like, I got nothing more to teach because my shorties are dominating difficult competition, like out of town competition, going to Chicago and placing in spots that like took me years to go. And why? It was just because I cultivated that idea that we're going to travel, you're going to see people that you watch on the clips and you're going to battle them. Yeah. You're going to go at these people. You ain't a fan anymore. You're a rival. And it was like, don't sit on the sideline. Don't get in there. Like, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't chill. Like, get out there and really get moving. Like, you got to get in the cipher. You got to get dirty with them. You got to do these things. And it paid off. I mean, like for a couple of years, they were just like, shit, these kids are in high school and we're just dominating. And it was like, and they were like Auto Rocks, like they were just dominating like the scene because it wasn't hard to do. That's the other part. It wasn't hard to do because I told them, I was like, like real early on, they realized being the best in Michigan didn't mean shit. Like they were just like, they lost the strings and then they went back at them. You know what I mean? Like they knew what they had to do. They were like, all right, strings is the best. That's all we got to worry about. Oh, soul's the best. That's all we got to worry about. Oh, Marvy's the best. That's all we got to worry about. And that was it. Everything else, they were like, that's just cannon fodder. Is Javi Berto put it. They were like, everybody, like, because they had a whole thing about Naruto and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. How he just kind of walked through everybody. Like, the guy was literally like, everybody else is dumb and useless. And, like, these are the main dudes we want to go after. And that was it. And I was just like, damn. But then they went out of town and ran into a wall and they were like, but they didn't get defeated by it. Yeah. They came in and they were practicing right here. Like for 2-3 hours. Berto took a W and came home and practiced. Like and came home from Ann Arbor off of his first W and came back into the house and practiced. And that's why I was like, it's not me. I was like, it's because I put around the right exposures of out of towners and they got to meet, like Stead Love came and practiced with them. Harvey came and practiced with them. They got to that's insane. Rob.
That y'all have like a handful literally within one hand you can count on who the cats are to beat in the whole state. Yeah. Like obviously early on
it was big about 5-10 years
once
ago.
I expanded 2-3 years into the dance, you had 4 or 5 cats per city, per county. Cali had countless cats. Like you can.
The
to
countless
be,
cities
quote,
doing
unquote,
it.
The king of Cali was. Yeah.
Which I always think like that's
Good
great.
luck.
That'd be a whole other conversation. That'd be a cool conversation with some older guys, like generation. Your generation is to talk about King of Cali. I'm gonna save that because I always hear King of New York, but I never hear King of Cali. And as I think about it, I'm like, man, there's some heavy hitters out of San Diego, out of LA, out of the Bay, and I mean, it's like 30 people I could probably sit here and name that are like world class. 30 names out of that.
That
It's
are
just
probably still active.
yeah.
Like that's
That's
crazy.
insane. Yeah. I'm thinking about it.
I think
Yeah,
no matter
it's a
what
whole
the sport is, the competition is, you can't call yourself the best if you're not competing nationwide.
Yeah.
Like, if you're
Right.
not
Nationally.
leading, because
Yep.
like that's what it takes to be the best. Like to be a world champion, you got to compete against the world. Like that's how it works. Like
nowadays,
you can't be. You can be the best boxer in Michigan, but to the rest of the states, it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? Until you start rocking these dudes from the rest of the states.
And that was part of traveling that was good too, because you did think you were the best, or you felt like you were the best, whether it was your neighborhood or your state or your city or your county.
Yeah.
And then you step over, the state lines or another country, and you're like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm
Figured
like,
it out.
I'm like that classic little fish in a big pond now.
Yeah.
This is different.
Very
When
low.
you're the big fish, you just be bullying cats, get out of my way. I don't even dance tonight. Everyone knows me. Guess I'm the first, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, once you feel like that, at least
shit.
in hip hop, when you feel like you're that tiny fish, bro, that could make you or break you. You're gonna come home and practice in somebody's living room, or you're gonna come home and just be like, I don't know.
Damn, that's gonna take.
Those
You're
are
gonna
my
make
favorite,
excuses.
Yeah,
that's
of
my
course.
favorite.
You're like, damn, I don't know. I have school tomorrow. School.
Yeah, I think Destroy Toys is the Destroy Jam, the fuck the live stream one.
The revolution when I'm
Yeah,
televised.
yeah, Revolution. I'm gonna be televised. That was one of the first jams in a long time that I came home from and was like, I want to practice
Right. Hell yeah.
because I
love those.
was just fucking hype.
I've
like
had some good ones.
man,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like we were messing around in the hotel room and stuff like that and everything when we were sober. But yeah, it's as we've built and talked about everything, I think like it's just I'll say the end this part is like you just gotta travel. Like
Yeah.
it's inevitable. Like if you want to be dope, you just gotta travel. And I'm not talking about being like world class. I mean, if you want to be taken seriously, you gotta travel because it shows investment.
Yeah.
It's not my breaking that's getting me booked. It's because I've built community.
Yes.
It's because I've built connections. Because I've talked with people. Because I've shook hands. It's because I've battled them too and everything. A lot of the people that I've had out here, the only reason they're coming out here is because I started shit with them, and they're just like, "Oh, damn, you bought that life too. All right, bet I fuck with you." And then it becomes a conversation afterward, later when we're having beer and ramen,
Yeah.
and and it's like,
Yeah, there's a lot of things that definitely put me in other countries, and there's a lot of things that have put my name in other people's mouth from other countries.
yeah,
And some of it was traveling.
yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't know you're from Cali. I saw you repping here. Oh, so you saw that video of me in New York? Yeah, cats were clowning. Well, I like what you did, so
Yeah.
we're talking about you in my country. Stuff like that.
Yep.
It's just dope.
And I think that's like as you go, you realize like anybody who has an opinion on and specifically Michigan wise, they have an opinion. Otherwise, it don't exist past their site, past their practice. Like you don't travel, you don't have your name out here. Like doesn't matter what happens. Like we put our names out there between me, you, Medi, and Strings,
Yep.
and Will. I always forget about somebody, right? And what do you call it? I always end up with anybody else I'm forgetting. Preach, damn it. That's the second time I did
No,
that, right? It's just like, but there's out of the 30, 40 people in the scene, like the names that constantly get brought up is, between us and stuff and everything. And then when you bring up Detroit, it's just me, Strings, Preach, Medi. You know what I mean? Like Will.
And realistically, and this isn't to down talk anyone, if I didn't come here, I wouldn't have heard of any of those
Yeah.
names. So that alone is like,
Because those guys aren't like Medi's just starting to step into the traveling and battling stuff.
and they're young. Like,
Yeah.
I was-
This is his, as we do this is going to be like where he sets his, either makes or breaks it and stuff like
Word.
that. Strings already made it. And the people that know him don't know him anymore because he hasn't been active in that realm for as long as soon. And, and you only last every 2 weeks. You know,
It's
because
Nowadays,
you know,
yeah.
you only have for 2 weeks, if that.
I've been blessed to be in those circles, like where people still talk about a clip from me 20
Yeah.
years ago, but they won't talk about me from 2 months ago.
Yeah, like the 40 and up battle, like
Even harder.
nobody's
man.
gonna hear it anything. Like that's cool. Like
Yeah.
we talk about it
it was
because we
hype
know,
for a couple weeks,
and
but
that's it. Because
Lords of the
why?
Floor, cats are still talking about it.
Yeah,
and that was
iconic.
20 years ago.
You know what I mean?
So
Like,
it's a trip hop.
oh wait, I remember
That's
strings
the
from
moves.
Beat Riders. Yeah, see how that like
Yeah.
happens? Like they're like, oh damn, yeah, he was at Red Bull Beat Riders. It's like, yeah, he got selected. Ugh. And that's a frustrating thing because like for somebody, I just feel like it comes down to him advocating for himself more. If he was loud,
Yeah.
but he's just real
He's
chill.
humble.
I have my circle. I have
Yeah.
my circle of cats too that
Humble.
They just
I invest, like you said, you invest in something that you believe strongly about, even if you don't want to call it an investment or don't believe it was at the time. Like I literally maxed out my credit card and didn't pay it when I was in my early 20s just to get to Miami to an event.
Mhm.
To this day, I didn't pay that credit card.
Mood.
But literally, I know that was an investment, so to speak.
yeah.
But I wasn't investing in myself. I didn't think of it that way. I was investing in the knowledge of something way bigger than me. And
But honestly, like a little goes a long way, right? So like it doesn't have to be because it's in this time and in this moment, like a lot of people have families, a lot of people have their own jobs, and it's like really hard for them to travel. It doesn't take that much.
No.
It doesn't have to be, every jam out of state. You could like literally choose.
You know, gotta stay in 5-star hotels and all
No,
that. Like, or
you
go to
just
the
strategize.
tourist city.
Hey,
That's one thing. Like,
Strategize, plan, like just keep it lower key.
Yeah.
Like pick 1 to 3 jams a year that you go.
yeah.
again,
You know?
the luxury.
Yeah.
So think about when there was only 1 or 3 jams a year.
Right.
So how did you do it, and how did you pick, and how did you
Right.
invest? And I was hard on my people. So I was like, F your family, F your job. This is the only jam that's happening this year, so we're going. And if you don't make it, then that's on you.
Which is
So now you have that luxury of being like, I'm gonna go to 3 or 4 or 10 jams a year because you can.
Yeah.
But what about when there was only 2 or 3 jams a year?
and you can miss 10. You could literally throw a rock at a week, throw a dart at a calendar, and probably hit a weekend
Yep.
with like 5 jams.
Yes.
Yep.
And then-
just in maybe your state.
Yeah, like along in our region and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
with
going
the
all the way
tri-state or
down to
whatnot.
like Tennessee to Minnesota,
Yep.
and maybe as far like,
And we
and
didn't have that, so it cost us a lot more because we were sacrificing what little we did have.
Yeah.
And that was really
Yeah.
harsh.
I
If
just
y'all see this, I
Yeah.
was harsh on you motherfuckers.
I think it's too is just I always hear, oh, I have all this family, I have all this stuff, but we have family,
Yeah.
we have responsibilities, we've got all this stuff just like everybody else. But then it's just like not only that, but then I look at other people around the scene, not like maybe nationally, that have like Gravity has like 6 kids, a dog he shows up to a jam with at Rock City. Remember?
Dog.
He walked in with the whole family, his wife, and the dog. Like I like when I seen that, it was like nobody has any excuse. No one has any
Yeah.
excuse to not travel, to not do things. And I get his lifestyle and everything he does is built around that, but somehow he figured out how to take care of like his whole troop
Yeah.
and in a nice Jeep. Right?
Yeah.
Like so it's like, damn, like like you see Moy and he has his family and he's world traveling and stuff like that. Like there's countless people that have families, have 2 families, move, have 2 things set up and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and all this responsibilities, XYZ, and they're still able to take care of biz. And it's just like I hear it and I'm like, okay, cool. You have a different sense of priorities, and that's okay. I don't
Yeah.
judge anybody outside of it. I just call bullshit
I used to.
about it. Yeah.
I was really, really hard. I was just like, I can't believe that you claim to love this as much as me, but you're not willing to sacrifice everything that I've
And that's the
sacrificed.
problem. I think they love it.
That's what it is.
They just don't love it as much as you. But they want to say
I
it
didn't understand
because you flag it
for
and they
years.
flag it and it doesn't translate.
for years.
That's the thing.
Of course, there's some stuff I should have
Cool.
sacrificed that I look back on
Nah,
now.
it's
But
the same.
that's how they story.
We're here.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. That's what I wanted to talk about and everything. So closing thought, Mark Stunts, traveling.
Yo, too many people out there spend, and I'm guilty of it too, but luckily I'm able to balance it. There's too many people out there spending dumb amounts of money on something that they could easily put into a life experience like traveling. So I think one of the biggest things you need to look at yourself, self-reflect, which I've done, and like those few dollars that go into a certain vice, put them into something else to be able to travel. And trust me, those experiences cannot be duplicated, cannot be substituted. And at the end of the day, it is addicting. Once you get a taste of that life, especially if someone else pays for it, you're just like, yo, I want
First time I got on a plane, hotel, and
Bro.
fed, and walked home with money, came home with money, I was like,
ridiculous, bro.
oh my God.
I made it different.
Like, I was
made
like,
it.
so hard not to be
But
Hollywood.
it didn't come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I did put some money into wherever I went. Like in '97, I was already seeing, the mecca of hip hop. I was already in New York doing what I was doing. So someone noticed me, and I was able to be blessed. And traveling is crazy, and it's crazy, like rewarding. And I have a lot of good stories in my hometown, but traveling, I have infinite. And I haven't even been to many countries. I know some of the other cats have seen 50, 60, 100 countries. I've seen a quarter. And I'm like, yo, that's fucking beautiful. So it's an investment. Not
Sounds
only in the
delicious.
artist,
I know that sounds like a commercial every time I say that shit. I'm
but
like,
Yeah.
in you as a human being, like we talked about. Even though I consider myself a breaker before a human, there's still a lot to be rewarded from seeing other people's timelines and cultures.
Shawny, last minute thoughts on traveling as a dancer, B-girl, artist,
First of all, be girls
non-human.
out there. You need to represent yourself in the scene and, make your presence known. And we're rare, so I just encourage all B girls to get out there and to travel and to fight against falling through the cracks of the culture, because we need to really have our place. We should be shining. And then for anybody else, like, just take a look and see how many people you legitimately have as connections, as people that you're building with out of state, within this culture, within the scene. Like, how many people do you actually have relationship with? Because that's going to show the longevity. Because, like, yeah, you can have your people here, but it doesn't strengthen you. Like, it doesn't show you how far your roots are going. If your roots are shallow and small, you're going to fall over quickly. So you just want to really build within the culture. You want to build within the scene, not just deep where you are, but wide. And you'll be someone strong, somebody that's known. And it's not about being known necessarily, but it's just about your presence being here within the culture, because you have something to give. So just evaluate where you're at. Like, what's holding you back? Is there something holding you back? Conquer that and get after it. Because to me, the most rewarding thing is actual relationship, community building. The dance is dope. I love the dance, but I love the people in this culture even more, so just take a look, heart reflection, and get out and defeat your hindrances and get out there and build.
Matt, anything on those dope Shawny?
It's not like life's all about who you know, so get out there and introduce yourself. That's all I could say. Introduce yourself, try new things, meet new people, and there's always a way to make it happen.
Sometimes it's not only who you know, it's who knows you back.
Yep.
Yeah, that part.
I think traveling for me, closing thought wise, is I beat Street Fighter 2, the original one earlier, as Ryu and Ryu, whatever. And Ryu. And he doesn't show up to the placing. Do you remember the closing for that?
Yeah.
He doesn't go. He's already on the road to find the next challenger.
Damn.
And that was like my whole MO as a kid, was like, because I grew up on like karate movies, wushu flicks, and they were always traveling from town to town, fighting the next strongest person, battling this. Goku was always looking for the next person. He was literally giving bad guys sensu beans because he wanted a challenge and stuff like that. So it was just like that. When I would read like all them old or I watched some old movies, like the dudes were traveling from town to town whooping ass. And it was like, even if they got their ass kicked, they stayed there and learned and built. And it was like they were on the road with like a backpack over them. And I always thought that imagery was always everything. So like for me, that was always like what motivated me. Like how I always feel like on the road, why I love traveling alone. I'm just like, cool. I'll hold it down for all of us back home. And it's just dope. And it's a good feeling to come home with too and everything, all the experiences. Because at the end of the day too, is there's a lot of people who can leave the block. And a lot of people that see my stories that Nah, I don't give like all the people I put like breaking wise that do travel and stuff like that. I got inspired by seeing them, you know. So it's like I want to inspire somebody else too to want to do that, because if it wasn't for seeing like you jumping around the country and stuff like that, like damn, he's in another town. Damn, he's in another town. Damn, he's in another town. Like, how the hell did he hit 4 cities in a weekend? Like, that's nuts. I want to do that. I'm gonna do it. You know. So cool. Well, that's traveling. That's all that I just wanted to
Traveling
politic on.
and what it brings.
So,
It's beautiful.
yeah, that's us.
I train, I teach, I travel. Repeat.
Train, teach, travel.